Welcome back to Movies Are So Back, the YouTube movie review channel where I, Ethan Simmie, ask the question, are movies so back? We trek forward on our weekly reviews of Severance, and with this episode being the best episode of Severance yet, it took me more time to think about it, to ponder what I shall say in my review, because it is, in fact, the very best episode of Severance that we have gotten yet. Prestige television is back. It's here. This is it. We are living in a golden period with season 2 of Severance. Episode 4 is titled Woes Hollow. I have a million thoughts, like quite literally, and in order to express all of them and to thoroughly talk about this episode and talk through this episode, I feel like I would need like 90 minutes, 100 minutes. So we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it really high level. And we're going to keep it really fast just to kind of hit the bullet points of why this episode is so good. But it is truly wonderful, immaculate Severance content. Okay, first things first, the cinematography in this episode is immaculate. It is incredible. It is mesmerizing. It is so clearly the contrast of everything else that Severance has been doing up to this date. The normal Severance that we know, the aura that we have become accustomed to, is hard, fast cuts that are meant to kind of confuse you into where you are on the severed floor and what you are experiencing. This episode in particular is meandering and gorgeous and lethargic a little bit, and it is truly an incredible thing. Now, with that being said, a lot of theories are going on out there that this might in fact just be another simulation and not actually the outies on this Ortbo. I would agree. There is a lot of stuff that leads me to believe that that is the case. I don't know for sure, but I think that is what we are dealing with here. But gorgeous, just gorgeous episode. Speaking of Ortbo, one of the greatest acronyms that Severance has made to date. Incredible stuff from Ben Stiller and company. Keep doing it, because Ortbo is now stuck in my head forever. Now, every episode that I review, I do a winner of the episode and a loser of the episode. I really wanted to put Mr. Milchek as the winner of this episode because he kind of ate in this episode. He kind of did incredible things, and so much of this episode is constituted on his energy and what he brings and kind of the condescending nature that he lives this Ortbo with. I did also want to shout out the one thing that he says, that's the tallest waterfall in the world. It's quite rude. It's quite mean, and it's quite goddamn hurtful. And you know what? It's cruel. So, Helly was never cruel, but Mr. Milchek, one cruel guy right there. Also, him getting Miss Wong to toss all of the marshmallows in the fire. Mr. Milchek, God, that hurts. This episode has so many great one-liners. It is one of the best, if not the single best, written episode in the entire series so far, and it's very interesting because it is kind of the first episode that allows our core MDR4 to go out and to do this adventure and to kind of do this quest, and really builds and allows for that space for these one-liners to really work and to really take effect and to hit. I mentioned the one about the waterfall, just absolutely treacherous stuff from Lumen and Mr. Milchek there. I just wish I knew where we were going. I thought was quite notable as kind of a meta reference to Severance as a whole. We often laugh at things we don't understand. Also, I could see that as a meta reference to the series, but more importantly to the kind of constitutes of every single character and how they interact with things that they don't understand about Lumen and their innies and outies and other things. Marshmallows are for team players. Dylan, that's just kind of as good as it gets. And of course, Helly was never cruel. Boy, oh boy. Which leads me into the final scene between Irving and Helly. Just really immaculate storytelling. I think Britt Lauer and John Turturro should be pretty close to carving their names on Emmys. I don't want to speak too soon. We're very early in this season. We're very early in this year, but holy cow, the facial expressions from Britt Lauer as Helly interacting with John Turturro as Irving B is really resounding stuff when she drops her act, and you can kind of see the Helena and the Helly kind of switch places and interchange on a moment's notice. John Turturro in this episode is pretty lights out. And I think what is so interesting about this episode thematically is that we see again like the stark contrast between Irving and his journey toward loneliness, and then Mark and Helly and their journey toward connection. If you stay kind of at the end of the episode, they do like a little 3 or 4 minutes behind the scenes. And I thought it was notable that the creators of the show mentioned how the first season was kind of like being a child, and the second season is more like adventuring into adolescence. Obviously, this episode, your first love, and finding your personality, your identity, who you are with those around you. I thought was interesting and a really insightful lens to look at this episode and look at this season as a whole. But the final scene, I specifically wanted to call out Irving really giving it to Mr. Melchek and calling him Seth was incredible line delivery. Obviously, Helly was never cruel, and saying, "Hey, kid," that, huge callback and big important stuff there. And then to basically do what's needed to be done as Irving to suss out Lumen and to basically do exactly what he's trying to do and uproot everything that he thinks he knows about Lumen and reveal the truth, and to put Helly's face in the water. And then to immediately, when Helly comes to light and when Helena is out, to immediately cradle her and hold her like a fatherly figure, like a best friend figure, like a true brother-sister figure, I thought was really emotional stuff. And I think that this whole episode hinges on John Turturro's performance and Britt Lauer's performance as Helly, and they really do a phenomenal job in the back 10 minutes of this episode. Who won the episode and who lost the episode? Last week, the winner of the episode was the Lumen parking lot. A lot of shit went down in the Lumen parking lot. This week, the winner of the episode is, of course, my boy Irving B. How could it not be? R.I.P.? I don't know. Maybe. Wait, are we going to see Irving in the next episode? I genuinely do not know. I do want you and the world to know that a few episodes ago, when I started talking about and reviewing Severance Season 2 episode by episode, I did throw out the idea of Irving getting killed off in the middle of the season. I didn't want it to happen, but I'm correct. I just wanted to put that out there, and that's where we are now. So I don't know what's going to happen next, but he undoubtedly won this episode. The loser last week were the goats at Lumen. Tough stuff for the goats. The loser this week, just Lumen in general. They got. I mean, Irving kind of took the lid off. I think one fell swoop, we were doing a lot of lid peeling back, and now we kind of have a big pull of the lid, and I'm going to keep doing this because that is what my hand is doing. The big pull of the lid to let a bunch of the steam out, and I think that's where we are now. So the loser of the episode on a truly fundamental level is Lumen. They are getting found out little by little, big by big, and it is going to only get worse for them. Predictions for the next episode, truthfully, I do not have any, and I don't know where it is headed. This episode sets a really high precedent narratively, pace-wise, thematically, of where we need to go in the next episode, in the next couple of episodes, to be honest. The pace of the show is pretty breakneck. They're burning through plot points really, really quickly, which can make me a little bit nervous because I don't know how we're going to sustain this. It also makes me a little bit nervous that we're getting like very theory heavy from episode to episode, but it's Severance. That's part of the fun, and I'm choosing to join this journey. And I think that is part of what makes this show work so well. So this episode 4, Woes Hollow, I think is a Severance Hall of Fame, a Severance Mount Rushmore entry, if you will, which could be fun at the end of season 2 to do like a Severance episode Mount Rushmore. What are the 4 best episodes of both seasons? But this is it. I think the lore uncovered in this episode, the performances, the cinematography, the score, the pacing, everything about this episode is like really, really elite prestige TV, which is kind of crazy to say. And it just feels good to be back in that space on a weekly basis with a show that is very, very good. Is TV so back? Absolutely. Prestige television is here, and I think that Severance used this week to really take a huge step forward to affirm its footing in the prestige television conversation. I think they can do it. I think at the end of season 2, they can say we are one of the greats. I have faith. Right now, they are on that path. So yes, TV is so back. What were your thoughts on episode 4 of season 2 of Severance, titled Woes Hollow? Who was your winner of the episode? Who was your loser of the episode? And when should I live stream getting Helly Was Never Cruel tattooed across my chest? Because that will be happening, and that'll stick with me forever and ever and ever. Be sure to follow me on Letterboxd as well. You can listen to all of my movie thoughts there. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, to like this video, and turn on the bell to be reminded of when my weekly Severance reviews do go live on the channel. And I'll see you in the next video.